1,896 kilometers. That's incredible. This is definitely the longest street in the world. So where's Jennifer? I'm supposed to be meeting her here. Jen!
Hey!
And what's with this?
You know what? I don't believe in this manpower stuff. There is no way I'm pushing a scooter up the longest street in the world. I'm going battery powered.
Okay. But I bet I can beat you with my manpower.
I don't think so. I am totally whipping Jamie big time.
Hi! Looks like my horsepower has your battery power beat.
Catch you later!
Hey, Jamie, wait up! Give me a ride! In this episode of CG Kids, we head to Canada's largest city, which has the longest street and tallest freestanding structure in the world, Toronto, Ontario.
We explore the city's urban wildlife and check out a downtown bird's biggest nightmare, a skyscraper, with 11-year-old Sydney Peck.
In Jay's Geology, I'll show you how to filter and clean water by using stuff from your own backyard. Well, maybe not completely clean.
We'll also find out how the water from Lake Ontario makes it into millions of homes as we explore one of Toronto's water filtration plants. Come urban adventuring with us on this episode of CG Kids.
Geographic Kids.
Toronto is Canada's largest city with a population of over 4 million people. Now, Toronto is often referred to as GTA, or Greater Toronto Area, because it encompasses a bunch of smaller municipalities that make up one gigantic city.
Toronto is in the southern part of the province of Ontario. It sits on the shore of one of North America's 5 Great Lakes, Lake Ontario.
The GTA covers over 7,000 square kilometers and is the 5th largest metropolitan area in North America. So Toronto isn't just high-rises and millions of people. Throughout the city lies a network of wooded ravines, parks, and streams.
That's right, there's about 3 million trees growing on city land. And some people say that Toronto is an Aboriginal word for where trees stand in water.
And with a lot of trees comes a lot of birds. A few hundred different species have been counted in the downtown core. What Jamie is trying to say is that one of the biggest threats for both city birds and birds passing through are high-rises. As birds migrate or travel through Toronto's downtown core, they don't always recognize a window for what it is, a clear, tough piece of glass. Every year, around 10,000 birds are killed or injured by flying into the windows of the city's downtown skyscrapers.
We're gonna meet up with bird buff Sydney Peck and find out whether there's any way to help these inner city birds.
Sydney?
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi, nice to meet you. Hello.
Me too.
I'm gonna go. See you later.
Bye, Dad.
Bye.
So, do you guys want to come downstairs? I'd like you to meet somebody.
Sure.
All right.
Hi, Sydney.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, thanks.
Hi.
Hi,
I'm
Jamie.
Michael.
Jenny.
Nice to meet you.
So where are we now?
Right now, you're in the Flap Bird Room. Flap is a volunteer-based group that rescue birds that collide with the lighted structures in downtown Toronto and the mirrored windows during the daytime. And we bring all the birds here. The live ones we assess before they go to a rehab center. and the deceased ones we pop in the freezer here.
You have a bunch of dead birds in there?
Yes, yes we do. As a matter of fact, I just was going to be putting one inside the freezer right now. It's a bird we picked up this morning. It's a hermit thrush, and unfortunately, this guy didn't make it. This is one of the more common birds we pick up. And what we do is we give them a little tag, and that number is a reference number, and they sit inside this freezer, and at the end of the season we pull them out and take a photograph of all the birds, and then they go to the Royal Ontario Museum, and they use them for their study purposes there.
So how many different kinds of birds do you find?
To date, we picked up 143 different species of birds.
That's a lot of birds.
If you like, you can step inside here and I can show you all the birds that we have here. What I'm going to do is, basically, I'm going to place this bird into a Ziploc bag, and we'll deposit it into the freezer here. You can see all the different species. This freezer is sadly full of a number of different kinds of birds. This is just from this fall migration, and it's all because of the bright lights at night and the reflective glass during the day. I'll just show you guys some of these structures here, give you an example of the different kinds of buildings that pose a threat to birds. This structure on the left here, you can see there's much less glass, lots of stone but less glass. That's better because glass reflects natural habitat, and this particular structure doesn't have that problem. Going to the middle here though, you'll see lots of mirrored glass, much taller structure, that'll pose much greater a threat. And then this particular building over here has much more reflective glass.
So when you say natural habitat reflected, what do you mean?
Trees, bushes, these are the kinds of landscapes that the birds we find are familiar with. It's their home, basically. And the only natural habitat we find in the downtown core are little tiny clusters like you see here. And when those trees sit up against mirrored glass, the birds see that tree they're standing in as another tree they can fly to and end up hitting the window as a result.
A lot of skyscraper offices are aware of their threat to birds, so they are turning their lights off at night and attempting to decrease the window's reflection during the day.
Thanks. Well, I think, you know what, Sydney, you carry the bird.
Okay.
I got my pack sack and all, and you lead the way. We're taking this unfortunate bird to the Royal Ontario Museum. Sydney got involved with Flap through her dad, who's an ornithologist at this world-renowned museum. Ornithologist refers to someone who studies birds.
We have something very special for you.
You brought me a dead bird.
It's a dead bird!
Yay!
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
Well, actually, you know what? It's a hermit thrush. And to tell you the truth, it's more than just a dead bird. It's a lot of information packed in this little plastic bag. So let's try and make the best out of a bad situation. And I'll show you the process of what we do when a bird comes into the museum. The first thing we do is we need to get information about the bird. Here, Sydney, can you hold the bird and weigh it for me? I should tell you that we use the scientific name, which is Catharsis guttatus.
Catharsis guttatus.
And the weight of the bird, Sydney?
34 grams.
And then we'll take a bill measurement. You want to do that for me?
And these are the vitals, the length of the beak.
Yeah, this is sort of the vital statistics of the bird. So we're trying to gather as much information on each bird as we can. The idea is we can use this both for conservation, for research, and for education. So the more information we can get out of each bird, the better it is. What have you got here?
48.
48 millimeters. These are birds that we prepared for school groups. So when we go out to schools, we can show them different species of birds. Blue jay, yellow-bellied sapsucker.
Oh, they're like suckers.
They're a little bit like suckers. We like to think of them as popsicles. And we just do that just so the kids can handle the birds without damaging any of the feathers.
Or puppets.
Or
Don't
puppets.
put your bird feeder by the window!
Northern cardinal. Now, do you want to see something else? I've got a bug room that you'd love to see.
Okay, that's
What?
good. You know what, at first I thought this was a little creepy, but now I see the point. It's pretty cool. The bug room. So Mark, we were looking at the bird collection before, and now we're looking at the bug collection. Why do we have to wear these suits?
This isn't actually the insect collection. This is a collection of bugs that we use in the museum to clean specimens so that we can get nice, clean skeletons. It's actually amazing.
Yeah, no, that's disgusting.
No, it's really, really cool. All we have to do is give the bugs enough meat that they can feed on We give them warm temperature, nice bit of darkness, and the bugs do an amazing job for us.
Yeah, great.
And as a special treat, we've got a snake. We've got a snake skeleton in here for you. And you can see they really like their work.
Oh my God. So gross. That's disgusting.
Wow. The adults breed in there, and the larvae do most of the work. They feed on the rotten meat. You know, kids will eat anything. And here is the finished product.
And that was in the bug room.
That was in the bug room, and the bugs did 95% of the work.
So what happens after this process? You just keep them as skeletons, or?
They go into the skeleton collection, or you guys should check out the bird gallery and see some in the gallery itself.
Do you want to go there?
Sure.
Are you sure?
Okay, yes.
Thank you so much.
You're
I promise
very
I'll stop
welcome.
scaring her.
Thank you.
Okay, well that one is the scaly-breasted lorikeet.
And that's an elegant parrot.
That's a turkey.
That's a cockatoo.
Oh, wow, those are beautiful birds. Do you ever eat them?
No.
Sydney, this is Eldon. Eldon, this
What's
is
your
Sydney.
name?
Sydney.
Okay, Daphne, tell me, your dad, he works here, right?
Yeah?
Well, doesn't your dad bring home some of them rare birds?
No.
Well, look, I like a pheasant, okay? So why don't you just slip it under the door? I'll wait by the door of the museum. You give me a bird.
I can't do that.
How about if I pay some money? I'll pay $10 for one of them really rare parrots.
Eldon, stop bribing my friends.
What?
Come on, Sydney, just walk away.
Come on!
It's illegal to do that.
I'll eat these birds right here. It'll be like bird jerky. It'll be a little dry, but I don't care.
Okay, guys, it's that time again.
Geography time.
And the question is, what is a watershed?
Watershed?
And it's not somewhere you store water in your backyard.
And it's not something you yell when your favorite hockey player checks someone.
Hey, you want to race?
To a dead end? Brace yourself for the answer. Jamie, are you okay? Because Toronto has a lot of park area and ravines, it also has a lot of urban animals. So if you're a wild animal living in a big city, there are tons of hazards to look out for, like fast-moving cars, electrical hydro wires, poisoned garbage, peeved pets, and peeved people.
Toronto Wildlife Center began in 1993 to try and rescue injured urban animals, treat them, and then release them. They also try to teach people how to deal with city animals.
Hi, Natalie? Yes. Welcome. Thank you. Welcome.
Jamie, hi.
Hi.
So can you tell us about this place?
Sure, this is Toronto Wildlife Center, and a big part of what we do here is wildlife rehabilitation, so that means we take care of sick, injured, and orphaned wild animals that come into us, and we also do a lot of public education about wildlife issues as well.
So is these are pigeons in here, right? A room full of pigeons?
Yep. Yeah, they're also called rock doves. These guys originally lived on rock ledges on cliffs when they were in the wild, so that's why they actually like balconies and windowsills in the city, because they're the closest thing to cliff ledges that they can find in cities.
And what's the matter with this guy right here?
This little guy has an infection in the joint in his foot, so he needs antibiotics, which I'll give him right now. He gets these antibiotics twice a day. This is the evening treatment he's getting now. So we just tuck it down the right side of his mouth and just...
What? So this is basically it's like a hospital for wild animals.
Everybody in here is sick or injured, and in the springtime sometimes orphaned animals, but yeah, definitely it's a hospital. We don't take any healthy wild animals. They're all in need of something.
While we were there, a new patient arrived to the Wildlife Center. It was a Canada goose who had gotten tangled up in some fishing line out in the lake. One of his legs was pretty damaged from the line, but the volunteers thought he would be okay. The center also has some resident animals that are used for educational purposes. These are all Canadian snakes?
Native to Ontario. This little guy actually came in as a tiny little baby, only 7 grams in weight, but she had been attacked by a cat and her back was broken in several places. And this is a snake that needs to constrict in the wild in order to catch food, so she's not able to do that anymore.
In this particular instance, Brutus was taken from the wild by a young boy, and unfortunately he's non-releasable because of that fact. They need a special place to sleep all winter long called the hibernaculum, and because he was taken from the wild before he ever discovered his, if we let him go back in the wild, he would not survive the winter, he would freeze to death.
So basically it's never a good idea to take a wild animal and try and turn it into a domestic pet.
That's exactly right. They're not good pets.
What's this?
Well, these are actually leg hole traps, which we really don't like very much. Unfortunately, we get a lot of animals in, even in a big city like this, that are caught in leg hole traps. And we actually have a raccoon that just came in recently that was caught in a leg hole trap. And she's actually ready to be released.
Great.
So it's her time to go.
For this raccoon to have the best chance of survival, she has to be released back where she was found.
That is incredible. That must feel so good.
It is great. It's the best part of the job.
She seemed to be doing okay with just 3 legs. She moved pretty fast.
Yeah, they actually adapt very well to 3 legs, so she'll do just fine.
Yay! Yay!
Clap quietly, we don't want to frighten the animals. I'm all right. I'm all right. Hey.
Okay, do you remember the question?
I don't remember my name, but I remember the question.
Jamie, I was talking to them. What is a watershed?
Oh, well, a watershed is everywhere.
Any area of land that catches snow or rain and then drains it into a marsh, stream, river, or lake is a watershed. So in Canada, that's pretty much everywhere. The thing that we all have to be careful of is the impact of pollution on these areas.
We're on the east side of Toronto in an area known as the Scarborough Bluffs. The Bluffs are a steep ridge of cliffs on the side of Lake Ontario. There's another reason we're here at the Bluffs. It is home to Toronto's largest water filtration plant, the R.C. Harris Filtration Plant.
Steel and concrete pipes that stretch about 2 kilometers off the shore pull lake water into the filtration plant, which is then converted into safe drinking water. Then it's fed to hundreds of businesses and homes all across Toronto.
Built in the late 1930s, the plant is a National Historic Civil Engineering Site, and behind its fortress-like walls flows almost 50% of Toronto's H2O.
This is the water arriving in from a great big water pipe, 2.5, 3 kilometers out in the lake, 20 meters down. We start the process here. We're adding some chlorine to the water to kill germs. Now also we're getting the occasional fish coming in. And we find that people get annoyed when they turn their taps on and there's like pieces of fish coming out. So what we do is let's walk over here and we actually screen out the fish from over here. These are sections of screen that go down 20 meters into the water to catch stuff.
So what do you catch?
Mostly sediment. We also have little zebra mussels in the lake, little tiny shellfish, which can clog up a pipe. So we put chlorine in the water, it kills the zebra mussels, but that's just in the summertime. In the wintertime, we'll have the chlorine pretty well right here. And the big pumps that we're going to see pump the water right up the hill for more cleaning.
I want to see the big pumps.
Let's go do that.
Okay. Whoa! When Mark said these pumps were big, he wasn't kidding. And they need to be. These pumps help produce up to 938 million liters of water a day.
And here we have the R.C. Harris Water Quality Lab, where we actually test the water every 4 hours. At the water plant, it's very important, the testing of the water here. It's round the clock. We also test the water over 200,000 times throughout the system as well. Nothing is left to chance.
So what happens here?
Well, in this rather awesome looking hallway is where we filter the water. We've got 40 separate pools of water here, filtering that billion liters of water a day. Here's Fred, and he's going to show us the backwash right now. Let's look in the viewing window here. What we're seeing now is the backwashing of the filters, where approximately once a day, each filter is backwashed for a 10-minute period using treated water. What happens is, clean water is sent from below and pushed upwards at high pressure, brought to the top. The center part of the gravel and anthracite are washed with a propeller-like blade. Again, and all the material that's collected in here will be washed out to the lake.
Hey, these may look like just regular drinking fountains from your school, but here at the Ontario Science Centre, each one contains completely different water. Let's see if I can figure out what type of water they have. These 3 fountains represent bottled water, tap water, and filtered water. These are just some of the different types of water that have been cleaned and made available for people to drink. Okay, this tastes like bottled water. Okay. B must be tap water then. Okay, so I'm not that good at this, but let's figure out how to clean and filter our own water. The problem with drinking water directly from lakes and rivers is that it's usually pretty dirty and may contain bacteria that can make you sick. So cities have to do what's called water filtration. Just check out my swamp water here. This water definitely needs to be cleaned. So first I'm gonna do something called aeration. This helps to release any gases that may be trapped in the water, and it also adds oxygen to the water. Now I'm gonna do something called coagulation. This gets all the junk in the water to stick together. I'm going to add alum, which is potassium aluminum sulfate, the same stuff often used to make Play-Doh at home. This is going to form a jelly and make a lot of the dirt particles stick together. Then it will sink to the bottom so I can get rid of it. Now it's time to make the water filter. I'm putting this coffee filter on the end, but the pebbles and sand are actually going to do a lot of the filtering. Many of the remaining impurities and other stuff will now be filtered out as the water travels through the sand and pebbles. Check it out. Pretty cool, eh? Now it's cleaned. You know, I think I'm kind of thirsty for milk.
A fantastic fact about Toronto is that it has a very unique urban wilderness. Tommy Thompson Park began as a landfill dump that soon extended out into Lake Ontario for 5 kilometers. Thanks to the successful growth of wetlands, meadows, and forests, many threatened and unusual animals live happily right here in the heart of the city. The park is home to 50,000 birds, representing 290 different species.
We're gonna do what?
Climb the tallest freestanding structure in the world, the CN Tower. 553 meters. That's incredible. I mean, we didn't make it all the way up Yonge Street, the longest street in the world, but I think we can do this.
How far up Yonge Street did we get?
Well, of the 1,896 kilometers, we did 2.
2? Okay.
Okay? Okay, ready?
Yep, I'm ready. I'll meet you up there.
Where are you going?
I'm gonna take the elevator. See you there.
What am I thinking? Jen! Jen! Wait up!
I'm gonna get some lunch up there.
Okay, guys, it's that time again.
Geography time, mime.
And the question is, what is a high? Hi.
Oh, that just got on my hand and it's so gross.
What happened?
We have a little bit of blood.
Tweet, tweet, come here, birdie.